Hello, and welcome to the Park Podcast, the Mars Park SGA's podcast series. My name's Carson, and I'm the senior representative here at Mars Park. On today's episode, we will be discussing our favorite charities, family traditions, and ways to celebrate the holidays safely in the pandemic. With me today, I have my fellow representatives.
Hi, I'm Kate Bunden.
Hi, I'm Paige Bunden.
And I'm Ann Gray.
You know, over the ongoing pandemic, it's always important to think about the people who are in need, especially during the holiday season. And so today we'd like to highlight some of the charities that are local to Charlotte that if you are interested to reach out and lend a helping hand, that would be much appreciated. I think over the ongoing pandemic, what's really impacted people the most are the lower classes of Charlotte, and you know, those people who might be out of a job or might be really struggling at the moment. I think being able to help out if you have the opportunity is definitely something important to keep our community safe and secure and have everyone have a wonderful end of 2020, hopefully. So I think charities are just a very important organization that we should be looking towards during the end of the year.
Yeah, and so on top of that, two of my favorites that I've worked with before are Second Harvest Food Bank and Loaves and Fishes, because they work really hard to gather food for families to make meals for them. And so I think it's really important, especially in the holiday season, to make sure that families can still celebrate and get around the table and bond over a meal, even though, times might be hard. And so I think that's a really good way to celebrate, especially in COVID.
Another couple of charities that are really good and you see a lot around Charlotte are Salvation Army and Goodwill, and those places have really are really necessary for people who still want to celebrate Christmas and need like winter clothing and want to buy presents for people. So it's just really important that you think about how much that you have and how other people don't have as much.
Yeah, just to go off of that page, I'd say that if you're not looking to, donate actual money over the holiday season, I'd say a really good thing that you could do would be able to just go through your closet and your drawers, just see what clothes you have that you may be willing to part with, because, I have gained a lot of weight over the pandemic, and so I have kind of looked through all my, shorts, pants, and everything like that, and I think I found that every single one of the pair of pants in my closet did not fit. And so we just gave them all away to Goodwill. So, obviously, if you haven't gained weight, which is totally fine, you don't need to do that. But, maybe if you go through that closet and there's that shirt you just haven't worn in a year or something, or you're just hanging on to those, sweatshirts that you just, haven't worn in a while, then maybe consider giving it to charity and giving to someone that could really use it.
Yeah, and with the donations that Carson just said, Urban Ministries is a great organization that helps the homeless in Charlotte, and I know that they're always looking for donations, whether it's clothes of any sort. Also, with that is the men's shelter, and my family, we do a bit with the men's shelter, and they're always looking for men's socks, men's shirts, and jackets, especially in the colder seasons. Jackets would be very helpful. Also, due to COVID, it's closed this year. They stopped that, but I don't know if you're familiar with Room in the End. A lot of churches, they do that, and it's a great way to get people off of the streets and into the churches and bring them together. And obviously with COVID, they can't do that this year, but during the holiday season, that just reminds me that hopefully next year or whenever you can participate in that. And back to Loaves and Fishes and Second Harvest Food Bank, something that you can always do if you don't know how to give back is you can just look through your pantry and find cans or something, because they're always open for donations for that, because they will take anything that can help the community. So if you have any cans, that's definitely a good way to help out. So now we kind of want to talk about how we can celebrate, especially this year in COVID, how we can celebrate safely with the holiday season. And so something I definitely love to do is just drive through the holiday lights on Hillside with my friends or with my family, because a lot of families put up these insane light displays and they're super cool to just like drive by and watch.
and I definitely think that's a great way to celebrate safely.
And I'm sure this year they'll do a lot with that.
Yeah, I think they're going to go all out this year because, I mean, what else is there to do, kind of? But, like, I think it's a great way to celebrate and, like, kind of social distance, too.
Yeah, I remember the first time I drove down Hillside, I didn't know what to expect, honestly. I was just looking for something to do. I think I was just bored over winter break, but I think my expectations were pretty low, and man, was I blown away. I mean, they really go all out. And speaking of, going back to our charities, I'm pretty sure that, most of I think they have a donation bin, and I'm pretty sure that most of the proceeds that they make go to charities, believe it or not. So a lot of good things come out of that street on Hillside.
Yeah.
Another thing, if you're looking for an activity to do with your friends, now that it's getting colder, I know at least I have been having a lot of fires outside with a few of my friends, and I think that's just a great way to get outside, and you can make s'mores and have hot chocolate, so that's kind of something to look forward to.
Yeah, and something specifically that I like to do because I'm a big baker, so I love making like holiday foods. And so Paige and we have like a Norwegian great-grandmother, and she would make this like really like she'd make this holiday bread called julekog from Norway, and it's like this traditional bread that has like candied fruit in it, and it sounds kind of weird, but it's so good. And it's one of my favorite things to make over the holiday with my family. And then also, like, of course, Christmas cookies, or, I mean, if you're Jewish, kugel, latkes, all that kind of thing. So, yeah.
Yeah, baking is definitely a big thing over the holiday season. Something that my family does is on Christmas morning, after we've kind of opened everything, we'll usually go into baking mode, and French toast with challah bread is usually pretty popular. And to be honest, I'm not a huge fan of French toast. Like, every year we make it, I eat it, and I, like, regret eating it. I don't like it. But the process of making it on Christmas morning, it's just so, I don't know, it just brings you back to when you were young, almost. But, just baking in general, I didn't know how fun it could be, especially, over the holiday season. It's if you're looking for something to do, baking is definitely a really good thing to do.
Yeah, and especially like cooking too with Kwanzaa and Hanukkah, there's definitely traditional foods that are super fun to make with your family, with your friends, and that's a great way to safely celebrate the holiday season.
Yeah, and stay tuned and like looking out for the Whitewater Center. Not sure if they normally during the season they have a nice big outside skating rink, which is really fun to go to with lights and everything. So I don't know if they'll be doing that this year, but that could also be a fun way to celebrate with your friends.
And some other things, like there's so many different holiday movies. That's also just another thing you can do either with your family or a couple friends. Just like sit down and have like a movie night. One of my favorite holiday movies is probably Elf. I just think it's hilarious.
And also on top of that, you can do that outside. Like my friend has a projector, and you can project that onto a screen outside, so that way you can be even more safe and have kind of like a distanced neighborhood get together or something like that when you watch your movie. Now we're going to talk about our family traditions and what we like to do during the holidays.
Okay, so one thing that my family does is we always make a really big Christmas dinner, and everyone kind of pitches in and does their own part, and it's really fun to like make the whole dinner and then just sit down and have like all this food ready with your family. It feels really special because it's like something we do every year, and you always are like really excited.
Yeah, and something that we definitely do, Paige and I, every year is, or when we were little, we used to always get in our sleeping bags like under the TV and watch Polar Express. So that's just something fun that we used to do as a tradition.
A tradition that my family, we've done ever since we were little, as long as I can remember. We have to, in the morning, even like last year, we have to wait on the steps and wait till my parents wake up, and they have this old video recorder, like a home video recorder, and when we were younger, they would always record us like waiting on the steps and opening our presents, and we have the home videos in discs. And so after we would open up our presents, we'd like will watch them when we were younger, like the Christmas ones. Another thing we do that recently this year, we can't do it this year because of COVID sadly, but instead of getting presents, we'd go on a big family trip. And that was just a really cool way to be with our family and celebrate Christmas somewhere different.
Yeah, and Gray, it's so funny that you mentioned that your parents make you sit on the stairs before you go and open presents or whatever, because my family does the exact same thing. And, I'm a triplet, and our stairs are pretty narrow, so we really have to squeeze in, and it is pretty annoying, especially since first they have to go make their coffee, and we're just sitting there waiting on the stairs, which is just super annoying. But also, a couple other traditions that my family has, and I know you guys just mentioned that you all have elves on the shelves, but I have one as well. And ever since I was born, we got an elf on the shelf, and we named it Buddy after Buddy the Elf from the movie Elf. Like, Paige, didn't you mention that? Yeah. But one time, this is just a distant memory of Elf on the Shelf, but I remember my parents told me that you should never touch it. And I remember I went over and touched it, and my parents told me that it would not go back to the North Pole, and its Christmas magic was gone, and it would never fly away. And so that next day, it didn't move, and I thought I killed Buddy the Elf. But thankfully, it finally moved, and somehow Santa picked it up or whatever at the middle of the night. I have no idea what my parents told me, but Elf on the Shelf, if you guys have that. I haven't been doing it the past few years, but maybe it should be something to put back up because it's still pretty fun. Yeah. And that concludes this week's episode. Thank you to all my fellow representatives for joining me today. The holiday season may look a little different this year, but there's so many ways to celebrate safely and express gratitude for our communities. In order to stay updated with all things Mars Park, it's important to follow at Mars Park High School and at MPHS_SGA on Instagram. Also, sign up for the Mustang Express email chain to receive important information about Mars Park. You can subscribe to the MPHS PTSO website. If you have any further questions you'd like to add to the podcast, you can DM either Instagram account. We'll be back in 2 weeks with another Mars Park High School Student Government podcast episode. We look forward to having you. Bye.